Today we're diving into something called the Prednisone Paradox. It's a look at a class of drugs, corticosteroids, that a whole lot of people have a really complicated, kind of love-hate relationship with.
You talk to patients who rely on these drugs just to survive, and you hear this one phrase over and over again. They call it a deal with the devil. That's a powerful statement, isn't it? It just perfectly captures the huge conflict at the heart of this treatment.
So that's really the big question we're tackling. Why? Why would a drug that can literally pull you back from the brink of death be talked about in such a, dark way? Let's unpack this whole paradox.
To really get it, we have to start with the miracle part. We need to understand why doctors even reach for these drugs, especially when things are looking really, really critical.
Okay, I want you to imagine for a second that your body is on fire from the inside. And that's not just some dramatic metaphor. For people with conditions like lupus or Crohn's disease or even a severe allergic reaction, that's what it feels like. Their own immune system is attacking their body, causing this runaway inflammation. It's a full-blown crisis, and it needs a seriously powerful response. And that powerful response? It's corticosteroids. Now let's be super clear about something. We are not talking about the anabolic gym steroids that people use to build muscle. Not at all. We're talking about drugs like prednisone. Their job is to act like a giant fire extinguisher, or maybe a master switch, just turning the volume way, way down on that overactive immune system.
For these conditions, the effect can feel absolutely miraculous. They stop the swelling, they kill the pain, and if you're having a severe asthma attack, they literally let you breathe again. There is zero question about it, these drugs are lifesavers. But, and it's a big but, that relief comes at a cost.
And this is where we flip the coin over. This is the part of the deal that feels, pretty devilish. Because while the drug is busy putting out the fire inside your body, it can start to wreak all kinds of havoc on the outside.
The physical changes can be so dramatic. Steroids can actually cause your body to move fat around, leading to this roundness in the face people call moon face, and even fat deposits on the back of the neck called a buffalo hump. You combine that with some really intense water retention, and it's no wonder so many patients say they look in the mirror and just don't recognize themselves anymore.
And then there's the hunger. Look, this isn't just a simple craving, like, I could go for a snack. No way. This is a deep, primal, biological command to eat. It feels like your body is literally screaming for food. And because the drug also messes with how you process sugar, this crazy hunger almost always leads to rapid and often significant weight gain.
But as if all that wasn't enough, the effects aren't just physical. These drugs can have a huge impact on your mind, on your emotions. They're essentially hijacking your brain chemistry.
A lot of patients use this one phrase to describe how it feels: wired but tired. You feel this artificial energy, almost like you're buzzing, but just underneath the surface, you are completely, totally, bone-deep exhausted.
So what in the world is going on? Well, it's because these synthetic steroids are mimicking cortisol. That's your body's main stress hormone. So what happens is your body gets tricked into a constant state of high alert, a never-ending fight-or-flight response.
And the results of that can be intense. It can lead to something patients have nicknamed pred rage, just this unbelievable irritability and anxiety. It can cause terrible insomnia, where your brain just refuses to shut off, and you're staring at the ceiling at 4 a.m. In very rare cases, with really high doses, it can even trigger something called steroid psychosis. And this is so important to remember. You're not going crazy. Your brain chemistry has literally been hijacked. So what happens when it's finally time to stop the medication? You would think it would be this huge relief, right? But for so many people, this next part of the journey is the one they dread the most. It's called the taper. First, you gotta understand that being on these drugs long-term comes with a kind of biological tax. The body pays a price. We're talking about skin that gets so thin it bruises if you just look at it wrong, a higher risk of cataracts, and even weakened bones or osteoporosis. And you absolutely cannot just stop. See, while you've been taking all this synthetic cortisol, your body's own cortisol factories, your adrenal glands, have basically gone on vacation. They've shut down production. So if you just quit cold turkey, your body suddenly has none of this crucial hormone, and it crashes hard. That's why doctors have to taper the dose, lowering it super slowly, sometimes over weeks or even months, to gently coax those adrenal glands to wake up and start doing their job again.
So this brings us right back to where we started, back to that central paradox. You have this incredible, life-saving drug that also comes with this whole host of just devastating side effects. It really is a necessary evil.
It all just comes down to this incredibly difficult balancing act. On one side, you've got this immense relief. It stops the pain, it reduces the swelling, it can literally fight off organ failure. But on the other side, the cost is so high. The physical changes, the mental and emotional strain, not to mention the long-term health risks. At the end of the day, doctors prescribe them because the alternative, that uncontrollable, life-threatening inflammation, is usually so much worse.
And here it is. This is maybe the most important thing to take away from this whole explainer. If you are on these medications and you hate them, you are not alone. Your frustration, your anger, your grief over what they do to you, all of those feelings are completely 100% medically valid.
But, and I need you to listen very closely to this, that validation comes with a critical warning. Never, ever, ever stop taking corticosteroids abruptly or without talking to your doctor. As we just saw with the taper, stopping suddenly isn't just a bad idea, it can be incredibly dangerous.
It's such a tough road, but you don't have to walk it alone. And that leads to our final question for you. For those of you who've been on this journey, how have you managed what some people call the side effect shuffle? What are your tricks for dealing with the insomnia or that crazy hunger? Let us know, because your experience just might help someone else navigate this paradox.